What's up, everyone? This is Soul with another video, and today, thanks to, I guess, Blizzard being a little bit convenient with how they're doing this testing, today we're going to look at all of the trinkets that we're going to get from dungeons in Dragonflight, at least so far. Now, it's important to note that Season 1 of Dragonflight is going to feature a certain kinds of trinkets that are going to come from these 8 dungeons. But then when Season 2 of Dragonflight comes along, we're gonna see other stuff entirely. So what's going to be kind of interesting here is that I'm not entirely sure about where exactly all of these trinkets are coming from, because there are going to be trinkets that come from the actual 8 Dragonflight dungeons. But when Season 1 happens, we're only going to see trinkets from 4 of those dungeons, and the other 4 are going to be from previous expansion content. So this will be interesting to take a look at. As always, if you could like the video, if you enjoy yourself, I'd appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel for more content. This right here just happens to be the raid trinkets. I just wanted to do a quick check. Hey, are these trinkets here? Do they match what's on this vendor person here? So we're going to be focusing on this stuff here. In fact, let's make it a little bit bigger so that everyone can enjoy the size. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so here we are. Oh yeah, love that inventory. Okay. All right, so let's get to it. Chat is over here or whatever above me. And, folks can chime in and talk smack all they like as we go along. Again, 40 trinkets. This will take a while. Let's begin with Storm. Okay, that's a weapon. Why is a weapon in there? Not sure why. That's another weapon. That's another weapon. Okay, now trinkets. Here we go. So maybe not 40 of them. Okay, so Tome of Unstable Power. Summon an unstable. It's an on use. You summon an unstable rune at your location on your feet. When you're standing in it, you or your party members, I guess they can stand in there too, they gain power, but they suffer its corruption, increasing primary stats by 13 by whatever, and decreasing crit by a certain amount. That's questionable. Yeah, I'm wondering, like, what sorts of classes are going to be willing to, get rid of that much crit. But oh well. On them. Burgeoning Seed. It's a strength trinket. It's a DPS trinket. Dealing or taking damage has a chance to grant you a stack of a thing up to 5. So you get a stack of whatever. But it's also an on use. Consuming it, you can gain a decent amount of versatility and health per stack consumed. Whoa. Okay, so stacks up to 5. The value that we're seeing here for an item level 420, which is like mythic stuff, top mythic stuff, is 46k. Damn. Times 5, you're looking at almost 25k. I'm sorry, 250,000 life. And that's a maximum health increase. Plus the versatility, of course. It lasts for 10 seconds and only a 30-second cooldown. Now I'm curious to see, like, how quickly can you gain these stacks? Because part of me thinks, given the 30-second cooldown, but it only lasts for 12 seconds, this is still going to have a really high uptime. This is going to be this feels like a favorite. It's different from, say, like a bubble trinket, because the hope that I have here is that it would increase that, as well as increasing your life, it's going to kind of heal you for that much as well. So if that's the case, this is a huge trinket that has this seems pretty cool so far. Damn, guess I definitely gonna be doing Mythic Plus. Okay, Umbra Skull's Fractured Heart, an int trinket. Your abilities have a chance to crystallize your target, inflicting damage over 12 seconds. If the target dies while crystallized, they explode, dealing damage split between all nearby enemies. I'm sure this has like a proc per second sort of thing. It probably doesn't have like a big AoE proc or anything like that, but that's decent damage. Nice and straightforward. Treemouth's Festering Splinter. Impale yourself with the splinter immediately. Now, we might run into trinkets that we're definitely familiar with already, but I may not remember, so I apologize if I don't point out, oh, that's from Halls of Valor or whatever. Anyway, impale yourself with the splinter, immediately suffering kind of a lot of damage, 85k damage, but letting the slime loose over your body. The slime absorbs 50% of damage taken, up to a lot of damage for... This is another good tanking trinket. Damn. So, I mean, you take damage, but if you know a big thing is coming, if you know a big hit's coming, just pop that, and at an only minute 30-second cooldown, I would say, like, you know, this seed is really awesome, but this one is, I'd say, is at the very least, like, reliable, because you're going to get that fixed value regardless of when you use it. It's on a minute 30 cooldown, which usually falls in line pretty well as a strong defensive button, so it's pretty cool. Idol of Pure Decay. It's a ranged trinket. Your ranged spells and abilities have a chance to unleash a volley of, hey, Pure Decay, dealing up to a lot of damage, split between enemies, and decreases their movement speed by up to 30% for 15 seconds. That's a pretty cool hunter-ish, you know, hunter-caster trinket. Depends on the fight. I'd say it'd be better for like outdoor PvP stuff. Probably nerfed to hell in actual PvP, but it should still have like some effect, but still a pretty cool trinket. Frenzying Signal Flare. Signal Flare. It's so funny. Your abilities have a low chance to summon a null ally to assist you in combat. They may deal damage to your target and stun it for 2 seconds. They may poison your target for nature damage, or increase your highest secondary stat by... that's a pretty cool trinket too. I love passives. I love passives that do random stuff, as a tank, at least. Furious Rage Feather is a int trinket. Your damaging spells have a chance to fire a Soul Seeker arrow towards your target, inflicting damage over 20 seconds. If the target dies while affected, your next damaging spells will fire an arrow. Oh, that's cool. That's pretty neat for like ad-based fights. And you can like easily like ramp up that damage. Although 20 seconds is a long time too, right? So maybe in like a pure AoE situation where the targets don't have a lot of health, it's gonna lose that effectiveness. But I'd say something like if you're doing like if there's like a big ad fight, or if you have like one big boss dude, but you're fighting a bunch of little dudes at the same time, or like just one and it dies, then you'll be able to make the most out of that damage. So not bad, slightly situational, but still seems pretty cool. All right, miniature singing, not singeing, but singing stone. It's an int trinket. Unleash the voice of Anara to wrap an ally in wind, shielding them for damage for 10 seconds. When this effect ends, the winds disperse and shield up to 4 nearby allies. For a 2-minute cooldown, I'm kind of like, it's okay. It's cool for an emergency button when the healer knows exactly what's going to happen. But 2 minutes is a little bit long. Still kind of okay though. Idol of Trampling Hooves, a strength trinket. Your attacks have a chance to call a centaur to aid you, increasing your party's speed up to quite a bit for 5 seconds. The centaur themselves, they charge forward, trampling enemies in a line for damage split between them. Alright. The speed is a little bit odd, because it's not like, ooh, I really could use this speed right now. Unless the proc per minute on this is pretty high, like 3 a minute, then it'd be kind of cool, but not that cool. Granite's Enduring Scale sounds like a tank trinket. Taking damage has a low chance to grant you a shield, absorbing damage for 20 seconds and increasing your armor by whatever while it holds. The shield explodes when broken, dealing damage split between all nearby enemies. Now, the fact that it has a low chance makes me kind of butthurt. Now, if the shield explodes when broken, I guess it explodes only when it's broken and not when it not when the shield goes away. But I suspect that a tank who's holding that, it's gonna break pretty quick. So it's kind of free damage. Yeah, it's kind of free passive damage. Can't really be mad at that. Bottle of Spiraling Winds is a haste trinket. Hell yeah. Your attacks have a chance to cause spiraling winds to surround you, increasing your agility. It's an agility trinket. Increasing your agility by a bit every 2 seconds, stacking up to 10 times before quickly disappearing, and it lasts for 25 seconds. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. Because if this thing, yeah, I guess the winds, they slowly stack over that 25 seconds and then goes away. Yeah, that's not bad. Algathar Puzzle Box. Solve a puzzle, increasing your mastery by quite a bit for 20 seconds. Now, what does that mean? So 20. So how much is that? 4,300 mastery, and then this guy with whack ass gear and no weapons. Okay, that's a lot more mastery, but I guess that is pretty strong because it's an on use. Yeah, a mastery melee person though, so not a master. So it's not like everybody. It'd be cool if this is like for everybody, not just strength or agility users. But oh well. Emerald Coach's Whistle is a pure caster trinket. It's an on use. You select a target friendly player to coach. And when that happens, your helpful spells and abilities have a chance to pep up you and your coached ally, granting you both. Oh, so it's kind of like one of them covenant-like abilities, or helpful trinket buff things. But this one actually has a use instead of just a straight stat sort of thing. It's not bad. Dragon Games Equipment is a strength trinket. Empty out the Dragon Games kickballs onto the field. Running into them kicks them at your enemy target, dealing damage. That's cool. That's neat. Right, obviously I'm not doing testing on this. I'm just kind of reading and reacting to these things. But yeah, I wonder how big the radius is, like how easy it is to see like these things. Not purely for damage. But I would say even for melee, it's a little bit dubious, because if you're gonna end up running, if for whatever reason you're running out of melee range, then you lose out, and that's not cool. Yeah, so it's gonna be a tough trinket to use. Like, and we've had trinkets like these where, a thing happens or it's an on use, and then you have to do a thing that might take you outside of melee range, and that's always going to be kind of a challenge for folks. I think people can probably use this to really good effect, but when it comes down to it, I think they'll probably take a passive over it, or a different sort of on use that they can rely on. All right, Globe of Jagged Ice is a pure agility trinket. Your harmful spells and abilities have a chance to impale the target with a shard of jagged ice, stacking up to 4. It has an on use, so I guess it can. I wonder if it's limited to one target at a time, though. As for the on use, shatter all shards, dealing up to of damage, split between nearby enemies, and decreasing their movement speed by up to 5%. Per stack for 10 seconds with a 30-second cooldown. So this seems interesting because I'm not quite, because again, I'm not quite sure, like, if there's going to be a target limit. If there is no target limit, that's cool. Now, I do wonder, like, how long the debuff lasts on those mobs, because if it's possible to proc it on more than a number of targets at a time. And it can stack up to 4, perhaps. So if you're like pure heavy AoE, and you're stacking it a whole bunch of times, then this is like huge damage. This might like just explode mobs, which would be really cool. I'd wanna just use it if possible. Actually, yeah, the fact that this is a pure agility trinket is kind of weird. I would want to just, even as a tank or whatever, I'll just want it anyway. Forget the stats, just let me have the on use, but oh well. Water's Beating Heart is an int trinket. It's an on use. It increases an ally's armor, probably my own. Well, I can't. It's an int trinket. Maybe I'll just use it anyway. Increase an ally's armor up to a bit and heal them for up to kind of a lot over 8 seconds. These effects are increased based on the current health of your target and are most powerful on targets below 20% health. I'm not fond of something like this because 20% health is like super danger zone. It's like 20% health is like I'm 1 or 2 hits away from death, and I feel like abilities and trinkets like these can tend to be a distraction. I mean, there's a certain mastery behind it too, right? There's a certain like, oh, I'm fucking pro because I can hit this thing at its most optimal time, and I save the day. So I guess I should rephrase and say this is kind of an advanced trinket. I have a feeling though that for a given person's like mental bandwidth, they're gonna want to go for something that's a little bit easier to use, so that way they can concentrate on like their main abilities, class abilities, things like that, as opposed to a trinket that they may swap out. So that's a usual challenge that players run into. Iridius Fragments is a mastery trinket. It's an on-use 3-minute cooldown. Gain the Titan's crumbling power, increasing... Oh, that's an interesting way to word it, isn't it? Gain the Titan's crumbling power, increasing strength by quite a bit, reduced each time you use an ability. Last 20 seconds. It's a lot of strength, I think, right? I got... Yeah, that's double my strength with crap gear minus important items. So it's still a very significant increase. And it starts off with a lot of mastery. So very much a, kind of a bloodlust, pop everything, line it all up sort of cool, trinket. But 3 minutes is pretty long. It'll really depend on the fight to be like, okay, can I really take advantage of this? In a 7-minute fight, sure, but that's a long way from now. I feel like 3-minute trinkets, they tend to throw off most other things, and it kind of feels bad when you're holding on to stuff for a bit too long. All right, Kiraka's Searing Embers is a crit trinket. Your helpful spells and abilities have a chance to create a burning ember on an ally. The ember flares up after 2 seconds, cauterizing wounds to heal for a bit, and expelling fire damage split between nearby enemies. I'd want to use this as a tank, because for those who don't know me too well, I love things that let me do passive healing on my buddies and my friends. So something like that, if I can get a hold of this thing, I would take it. It'd be hard to get a hold of it, depending. Well, I guess if I get it from like the Great Vault, because I'm not quite sure if this is like a. Let's see if this pops up as a healing trinket or okay. Let me just switch the tank and see if I can find. No, I don't see it. So not as a tank. I would have to take it as a healer, I guess. Yeah, I'd have to take it as a healer. That part sucks. But I would want to. All right. Ruby Whelp Shell is an everybody trinket. Your spells and abilities have a chance to call a buddy, which will try to be helpful and assist you in combat. It's also an on... Oh, interesting. It's an... Call your Ruby Whelpling to inspect your target's situation, teaching them how to be helpful. This is different. So it'll try to be helpful and assist you in combat. But when you use it, I guess it's like, hey, here's like an important boss, a progression boss or something like that. I want you to use the most helpful thing that you can at all times for this boss. And your Whelpling will be like, all right, otherwise I'm going to do really random shit. This I might hold on to. This I might actually want to test out. Yeah, maybe we'll take a look at this a little bit later. What's up, chat? Blazebinder's Hoof is a haste trinket. Within on use, bind with the blaze for 20 seconds, giving your attacks a high chance to increase your strength by quite a bit, up to 6 times within that 20-second period. So kind of it's a haste trinket, so I'd say, it's a strength trinket though, so Fury Warrior probably. When your binding is complete, emit a burnout wave, dealing a lot of damage split between enemies based on the strength of your binding. Kind of straightforward, but very much like a Fury Warrior sort of thing, maybe a single-minded Fury. I was hearing that dual-wield Frost is not working out right now, but maybe something to consider. Erupting Spear Fragments. In agility and in trinket, enkindle the fragment to throw an erupting spear which deals damage split between all enemies in an area. The erupted flames return to you for 10 seconds, increasing your crit for each enemy struck, stacking up to 5 times. A minute 30 cooldown. That's pretty good. Yeah, dude, that's pretty good. So for 10 seconds, you can have up to an additional... Oh, shucks. 3,000 crit strike rating, which is, I think that translates to like 7 or 9% or something like that. So that's a lot. I think this will be like a pretty good favorite. We haven't seen everything yet, but I think this one's pretty good. Spoils of Neltharis, an int trinket. It's an on-use 2-minute cooldown. Open the spoils and loot the first item that you find to gain its fleeting power, increasing a secondary stat by quite a bit for 20 seconds. In the meanwhile, your spells have a chance to jostle the spoils, reordering the treasure within. That's kind of like a Darkmoon Fair trinket. That's odd. And not very reliable. So 20 seconds is kind of normal. 2-minute cooldown, not the most reliable thing. If your class doesn't really care, or let's say your class is at a point where, okay, I have all the stats that I want, and now I'm like capped off. This will be like kind of a nice thing, but I think there are other better trinkets out there. Alright, Mutated Magma Mammoth Scale, a strength and agility trinket. Your attacks have a chance to cause flaming tentacles to grow from your body for 10 seconds. The tentacles lash out, dealing fire damage every 2 seconds split between enemies in front of you. The damage is increased for each enemy struck up to 5 times. This seems cool, but I'm sure this is just kind of like meh. But if the proc per minute is high, then that'll be like way better. Yeah. Otherwise, it's kind of okay. Time Breaching Talent, a haste trinket. Tear through time. It's an on-use. Tear through time and steal power from your future self. gaining intellect. So it's an intellect trinket. Gaining a lot of it for 15 seconds, then losing it for 15 seconds. A 2-minute 30-second cooldown. I'm no caster, so I think it'll depend on the person. This is one of those, okay, I really want to like maximize my stuff, but outside of this cooldown, I suck. And that's fair. That's how a lot of classes work. You have high burst, but you're just, which helps with your sustain, but otherwise shortly afterwards you're kind of taking a breather for a second because all your stuff is expended. So like that's so losing the intellect, it looks bad here, but it might not be as big of a deal as the burst window, so that could be a thing, kind of an advanced thing. 2-minute 30-second cooldown, kind of long, but oh well. Inexorable Resonator. Maybe this is a tank trinket. Falling below 50% health activates the defense matrix for 12 seconds, which has a high chance to react to your damage taken, counterattacking for damage and absorbing the next whatever damage that you take. 2 minutes though. Yeah, this kind of sucks. Like we've seen. Okay, this is a stat trinket. more than anything. This is if you want the extra stamina, but we've seen earlier that there have been better stamina trinkets out there. So this is just like, it's okay. Just okay. Now I'm wondering about the counterattacking thing. Will it constantly counterattack for 12 seconds? Yes, actually, yes, it is saying that. It lasts for 12 seconds. So it could be very much like a kind of a Mythic Plus trinket. Maybe. I think some of the other ones were better though. Stam is a wasted stat for tanks. I love having Stam. I loved specking for Stam. Whenever I could get away from it, especially as a paladin, because they tend to have like the smallest dick of them all. All right, Homeland Raid Horn, strength and agility thing. It's an on-use. Call on the Lost Dwarves. Oh, okay. So this, I'm guessing this is from the Ultimate Dungeon. Call on the Lost Dwarves to rain down cannon fire at your location, dealing damage split between you and all enemies over 3 seconds. So we might be seeing people pick up this trinket like as soon as next week in the dungeon, even though it's going to be like a low level drop, but well. So it just does damage. Split over, over 3 seconds. Damage is increased for each target struck up to 5 targets. So it's an AoE sort of pretty straightforward trinket. Cool. Wind Swept Pages, an agility trinket. Your attacks have a chance to let loose a flurry of mystic text, increasing your haste by a lot, and for 20 seconds. Ooh, that's a lot of seconds. Yeah, that's pretty good. If the proc per minute is high enough, then that'd be very cool. Thank you, by the way, to Scarlarth and Ollie for subs. I'm kind of doing a recording right now, so I'm being a little bit quiet to chat. Forgive me. All right, Void Mender's Shadow Gem is an int trinket. Embrace the gem to increase your crit strike by, and it's an on-use, but it increases your crit strike by a decent amount for 15 seconds. Your healing spells and abilities, healing trinket, have a high chance to empower the gem, increasing its effect during those 15 seconds. Minute 30 second cooldown. Oh, that's not bad for a healing trinket. So you'll be able to, so during those moments of high healing, pop that thing and just go nuts. Set and forget. Cool. Line it up with a regular cooldown that will stack with this, and then that'd be pretty decent. Bone Maw's Big Toe is a strength trinket. Feast upon the toe. It's an on-use thing. Feast upon the toe, increasing your crit by 20 seconds and causing you to exude a fetid breath, dealing shadow damage split between enemies in front of you. Cool. That's super straightforward. I mean, the big thing is getting the crit out of it. I mean, doing the initial damage is like, boom, let's get started, and then you just bust out your double swords and just go nuts. Flask of the Solemn Night is a passive int trinket. Your healing spells have a chance to grant you 10 stacks of Solemnity for 10 seconds, increasing your haste by wow. So up to 2,000 haste. Damn. Solemnity loses a stack every 1 second. Okay. So you immediately get the 2,000 haste. But then over 20 seconds, then it all goes away. Huh. I have a feeling the proc per minute on this one is pretty long, but having such a big increase in healing is nice. But I question, like, it's more passive. It's not like super reliable. Oh, it's only 10 seconds. Okay, sorry. Thank you for that. So you get 4K. Thanks, see? That's why I rely on chat. So help me out with this. So it's a crap ton of haste. But even for the full duration of it, it's still a lot of haste. But it's a healing trinket, though. And healing it's a thing, or haste for healers is a thing. But man, imagine that on a DPS. Oh, that'd be nasty. Shoot, it's even though it's an intricate, maybe I can use it. Maybe I could use it anyway, because technically I heal, right? Anyway, Infernal Writ is an intrinket. Your damaging spells have a chance to grant you 164 crit strike every 1 second for 20 seconds. Very straightforward. So it just builds up, and then it goes. So it builds up and then it goes away. Nice passive intrinket. Whoop-de-doo. Windscar Whetstone. Mastery trinkets. It's an on-use 2-minute cooldown. A slicing maelstrom surrounds you, inflicting a lot of damage. I think that's one of the bigger damage things that I've seen. Inflicting a lot of damage to nearby enemies over 6 seconds. For a 2-minute, that's not bad. Yeah, it's not a bad thing to line up. Oh god, it's like, come on tank, go, 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 and then I pull some mobs. I hit it with my explosive shield that does decent damage, and then this motherfucker will pop. Yeah, trinket, and then he dies. Oh no. Oh no, what happened to him? He's dead. Oh, Horn of Valor. You know, I think we're running into Halls of Valor stuff now. It's a first trinket. Sound the horn, increasing your primary stats by a lot for 30 seconds. I think this will be like a... Well, we've seen some pretty impressive trinkets, but I think this one will continue to be a strong one, being only a 2-minute trinket. Pretty decent stats. 30-second duration is what people will really like here. Mote of Sanctification, Mastery Trinkets. It's an on-use, radiate a burst of light that heals up to 500 allies within 20 yards for a pretty decent amount. So like this crap character has 320k life. Remember, there was a big increase to health just the other week, but this is still pretty decent. That's still pretty strong. Now this is like max mythic stuff, but you know it's still nothing to joke about. Eye of Skobald, crit trinket, passive. Your ranged attacks and spells have the chance to call down a fell meteor on your target, dealing kind of okay damage to them and nearby enemies. I guess the proc per minute will matter here, but straightforward, easy. Is there a travel time on this? Can it like start falling and then it doesn't end up hitting anybody if everyone's on the move? No, I think it'll hit the target. So, oh well. And then finally, Gift of Radiance, a mastery thing. Pierce your target with... Wait, did I miss something? No. I did miss something. Hunger of the Pack. This is the run trinket. Yeah. Increases your speed by a lot for 10 seconds when you kill a target that gives experience or honor. So this will be awesome to just have for... as an updated running trinket. So kill, go, go, go. Now, keep in mind, you have to kill a target that gives experience or honor. So that part kind of sucks. I could have sworn, yeah, I think that was changed at one point. Because before, I think it worked off of anything. But now it needs to give XP or honor. So that's kind of a nerf. Or it's been kind of a nerf. And then, okay, so let's go back to this Gift of Radiance. It's an everyone trinket. You use it, it just does damage. 1 minute cooldown. Just macro it with your favorite button, and that's it. Go for it. So we tried testing that one trinket. This trinket right over here, this Ruby Whelp Shell. Didn't seem to do much. It just did like a little bit of damage, and then it just kind of hung out. The on use didn't seem to do much of anything, but I guess we'll just have to wait until... Shucks, I would say this trinket needs to be like actually functional by launch pretty much, because I have a feeling that this is a trinket that we won't be seeing until we at least go into the regular dungeons, and hopefully it'll work decently. So that was a long one. I appreciate folks that had stuck out to watch this whole thing and go through all these different trinkets, because there were a lot of them. But I appreciate you folks. If you don't mind, like the video, subscribe for more content, and I'll catch you for the next thing. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.